3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Max on movies, and we always get a preview of whatever movie he's reviewing for this week, and this week it is
Gone Girl. Very excited about this.
Big deal.
Giant
deal, especially for St. Louis.
Mark Holos is all about this movie.
Wow.
Cape Girardeau, Carthage, and parts in Ladue, Maximilian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You tell me about it. You tell me what you know first.
I know that Max read the book, loved it. My wife read the book. My daughter read the book.
One of the many things I have in common with his wife and daughter.
Yeah,
Just
one of the
throwing
many
that out there.
things.
They know how to read. And I can't, honest to God, I don't remember the last time I heard a buzz about a movie like I did. And I'm not a big movie guy, but the buzz on this is crazy. Take it away, Max.
Oh, okay.
Good setup.
Thank you.
Gillian Flynn, not Gillian Flynn. Her name is Gillian Flynn. She was a writer for Entertainment Weekly, and she wrote a couple of books while she was reviewing books for that publication. Then she was laid off. Like a whole lot of critics are laid off these days, and so she found herself with a whole lot of extra time, and she wrote Gone Girl, and it was partly about being laid off because that's what happens to those two main characters. It's a crazy great book because you think it's going to be one of these, Lifetime movie type things, but then the way that it's put together, it leaves you guessing twists and turns. Really well done, and it's quite harsh. It's very, very dark and very, very harsh. And I think that it's surprising. The ending's surprising. A lot of surprising things happen. So this is sort of the perfect marriage between script. She adapted her own script and director. This is David Fincher. This is the guy who knows about dark and harsh. He did Seven. He did Fight Club. More recently, he did The Social Network and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake. And he does not shy away from some of the very harsh things that happen. It opens up, and plus, by the way, talk about perfect casting. Ben Affleck is this guy named Nick Dunn, who is this charming, good-looking American guy that everybody hates. That's kind of Ben Affleck, isn't it? And so it's perfect because he can pull off the charming, and some people in the audience are like, that's Ben, he's my guy. And then if you don't like him and don't like the character, it's fun to hate him because he's been a punching bag for a long time. So it's great work from Ben Affleck, and it's basically about this guy who's been in a marriage for 4 or 5 years, and they were in New York. They were living in New York, and then his mom gets sick, and so he and his wife moved back to Cape Girardeau, and she's not digging it too much, and she wants to go back to New York, and he comes home from work one day, and she's gone. Hence the title Gone Girl. And so the media and everybody thinks that he killed her, and it's sort of a, did he kill her, or is there something else going on? It is incredibly well done. It's very faithful to the book. But some of the surprises and twists and turns are handled in a different way. And the ending, which challenged a lot of people, it's a confrontational ending. It's an ending that a lot of people didn't like. There were rumors they had to change the ending for the big screen. None of that's true. It's the same ending. So if you have read the book, you're not going to find any surprises here. But the way they do it and the way they play it, it comes across even better in the film. Chuck Palahniuk is the guy that wrote Fight Club, and he said that Fincher made a better movie than his book. And that's the only time I've heard an author say, "Oh no, the adaptation is better." And I think it's because Fincher is able to get into this. I don't want to say black comedy because it's not a laugh riot, but he sort of gets into the absurdity of what's going on. And the tone of Fight Club is very similar to the tone of Gone Girl. It's almost this statement on the absurdity of marriage and lengths you will go to either get away from somebody or stay together. And so some of the challenging parts of the book come across as almost kind of funny in the film, and I think that's an amazing thing for them to be able to do. It's cool to see Cape Girardeau. It's cool to see houses in Ladue. It's cool to see Ben Affleck walk around with a St. Louis Cardinal shirt on and talk about St. Louis. There's a great gag where somebody says the Real Housewives of Branson. That got a big laugh in the theater. If you like murder mysteries, if you like smart, challenging films, this is for you. Fair warning, it is rated R. This director does not shy away from things. It is very hard to watch in certain scenes. There's lots of blood. There's lots of unfortunate things that happen. It is a very harsh film. Don't bring grandma. Just like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which had some questionable content, and Fight Club and Seven. That is the same kind of thing here. But it's hands down one of the best things I've seen all year. I went with some people who had read the book, some people who hadn't. And while, if you've read the book, obviously there's no surprises, but I was interested to see how they were going to do certain scenes. And the people who didn't read the book were just as shocked and surprised by some of the things that happened. Amy Dunn is played by Rosamund Pike, who is not very popular or famous here in the States. She's done a lot of work over in the UK. She was in The World's End. She was in Pride and Prejudice. I don't know if this role will put her on the map per se. I mean, it's a very demanding role. She has to do a lot. But I think because she's unknown, she'll be so closely linked with Amy Dunn that could almost hurt her career. But we will, we will see what happens. As far as must-see movies of the year, we've had precious few, and I would say this is one of them. This is definitely in the top 5 things I've seen all year.
Is it set in St. Louis? Or
yes.
they just used it for... So it is set in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm. It was filmed in Cape Girardeau, and real locations. And there's a bar the main characters own, and I guess somebody's bought that bar, and they're going to call it The Bar, and it's going to be like a tourist attraction now. So,
Do you think the R rating's going to hurt it?
No, I don't, because I think that... When a movie for adults is done well, when it's smart and when it's challenging, I think adults respond to that. Right. And I don't mean a movie for adults like The Equalizer, which is I'm going to shoot you in the face with my gun. I mean an actual smart, challenging film. Fight Club died at the box office, but almost everything Fincher has done since then has got this cult following. I think with Ben Affleck in the lead, and I think with everybody having read this book, almost everybody I know has read this book. It's a very quick read, and people love the book, and I think that they're going to flock to see the movie. I think it's got legs. I think it's going to be number 1 for a couple of weeks.
Here's how stupid I am. I didn't pay attention to this, and I thought it was about a little girl disappearing.
Yeah.
And I have no interest in that. I tried to read a couple of other books or movies that had to do with child kidnappings. I can't do it anymore. Now that I have little feet,
Lovely Bones,
can't do it.
Bones,
can't do it. And so I thought that maybe I was getting it confused with Gone Baby Gone or something like that.
Right.
So
also a very harsh film too. So.
They showed it last night. And Cape Girardeau did a special screening, and it was funny because a lot of the people showed up that were extras. And they didn't know whether they were going to make the cut or not. So they showed the people going, they filmed me 42 times, but I don't know if I'm going to make them. Which would be kind of cool. You probably think they're going to go, there I am, when they see themselves on screen. So
it turns out it's somebody else.
Yeah, probably.
When they made that soccer movie, which was a great movie.
Yeah.
I think it's called like The Game of Their Lives or something like that. I was so impressed with what a good movie that was. Some of my friends and relatives were down there for days shooting. And my brother-in-law John made he walks across the lawn.
Yeah,
and he was like, I was there for a week, talking and doing lines.
Yep, that's great.
Yep. Yeah.
I remember distinctly my logic teacher at SIU was this very, very flamboyant, probably 55-ish African-American guy with gigantic smile. He just looked weird, and he missed class for 3 days because he was filming Trains, Planes, and Automobiles.
Oh yeah,
and he was playing a crazy sky cap, and just knowing him, I'm like, oh, he's nothing.
That didn't make the cut.
Not a single scene.